Travels of Terror, Strange and Spooky Spots Across America. The Bram Stoker Award-nominated horror duo of Kelly Florence and Meg Hafdahl is ready to take everyone on a journey across America's creepiest dark tourism locations. Grab your flashlight, garlic, and ghost hunting equipment. We're taking you on the ultimate road trip of the spookiest places around the United States.
Carver met Mrs. Farx, he was like, "You're married?
Stop.
And you have kids?" Because we had been in Nashville, and I was like riding the one-wheel around and having a good time. I showed up
as you do.
Yeah, and I showed up to my screening hoarse voice from singing at Santa's doing karaoke the night before with Zach, with Carver.
Yeah.
Zach and I did a Blues Brothers song after I got cut from the mic for cussin' during...
Cussin'?
Oh, that's what they call it down there. I was singing Carl Carlton, but I put my name as Kyle Kyleton. And so now tell us the story of that dinner, because I remember a lot of funny details.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so here's a really good example of, like, what not to do. Like, if you... Okay, so I found out this person was important.
Get us to the dinner first.
This person was...
The dinner was in honor of this person.
The dinner was in honor of this person, and I didn't know who this person was, and this person's important. Yeah, this person has done things.
She has contributed a lot to cinema, and I won't say other things as to not identify her. And I don't think you failed. I don't think you failed, but I want people to go into this story knowing that Mrs. Farx said she was impressed by the chutzpah of Chelsea, and just getting into that dinner was a mess. So tell the story to Nick or Kirk. You'll look for the looks of understanding on their face, because I don't think I may have told.
Wait, are you wanting to know, like, me trying to get in front of this lady or getting in the dinner?
Well, first you had to get in the dinner. What was that? You were at a festival, right?
Yeah, it was like a VIP dinner.
Yes. And we weren't sure if we were VIPs or not.
So I don't really remember how we got in. I think we just went to the people and were like, "Oh, we thought we were like part of this," and they're like, "Oh, you weren't." And we're like,
"Great buffet."
And we're like, "Oh, like, can we just come in?" And they're like, "I guess, kind of." I think that's what happened.
I'm not going to say what happened.
The buffet was good. Wait, was it bad what happened?
No, it wasn't bad, but I'm not sure if somebody didn't pay somebody, so I'm not going to, like, give details on what happened.
Oh, gosh.
But, so, like, I
can't remember that detail.
You weren't there. That's why I'm realizing you weren't involved in that conversation like I was.
Are you talking about that thing where, like, person was like, "Oh, they know me, I'll get in"?
No, I don't remember that. That's hilarious if somebody did that.
Somebody was like, "I don't need to pay for this. They know me. I'll get in." And then at the door, they're like...
No.
Okay, we're not there. Okay.
No. My point was at the door, they were told, "No, you're not getting in."
Yes. Yeah. They're like, "No, you..." They're like... Because I warned that person. I said, "Hey, I just found out you need to pay to be in this." So
oh, wait.
And they're like, "No, they know who I am." So I get in and, like, kind of was, like, sassy. And I was like, "Okay." And then at the door, they're like, "No, you need to be on the list." I don't remember how we got in, to be honest. We got good seats, though. We were, like,
I'm aware.
Right there.
I don't need to give details on how we got in. We got in.
2 hours later, we're still talking about how we got in.
We got it. But the point is, this sets up the story because it's like, hey, you had to, it was a pain to get into this dinner.
But you got to get in it.
You got to get in, and you had to go talk to this person. So pick up the story from there.
Okay.
Can I tell everyone you were pregnant? So, like, you had a good evaluation of the buffet. Is that okay to say?
The buffet was good.
My wife said it was good too. She wasn't pregnant.
They had really good, like, Greek options randomly.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Mediterranean.
I'm trying.
We weren't throwing plates at the wall at the end of the night. Take that, the Greeks, and don't forget about you, the Irish.
This is another thing from sales. If there's somebody in the room that's powerful, you wasted your time if you didn't try to at least talk to them, in my opinion.
Sure.
However, I probably should have done, like, a little bit of research to figure out who she is, and, like, because I think what happened is What am I doing? Telling the story of me going up to her?
Well, okay, so she gives we have a whole ass dinner. Then she gives a little talk. She gets interviewed, and it's like everyone's like,
"She's so amazing. Here's your award."
Well, because you haven't seen these movies that
None.
She's been. Yeah, that's fine. It's the kind of thing where my wife was like, "I wouldn't have watched any of these fucking movies if you hadn't made me."
Right. That's how my husband is too. He's like, gosh, don't make me watch another one of these. Because I'm like, it's won so many awards. He's like, please don't.
Oh.
Please don't.
Yeah, if it's won awards, does not work on normies.
Yes, exactly. So it's always a punishment to him when I'm like, hey, got a movie, got to watch. Basically, everybody and their mom was going up to her to say something, and I could tell she was like over it. Like she was like so done, and I'm like, well, I have to. Again, the mindset. I'm on the clock. My husband's watching the kids. I need to like. And yeah, I went up. So awkward. Went up, just sat next to her, and was like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm making this script. Da 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 da." And
you pitched a project. That's right. I remember
yeah.
this.
Basically, what I think I should have done is been like, "Hey, I know tonight's been really busy for you. I know you're exhausted. I don't want to sit here and like try to pitch you something, but I do think I'm working on a project that you will be really interested in. Do you have time to get coffee tomorrow before I have to jet out and leave town?" Like something like that, right? So I guess like I don't even know if this is what you asked, but in hindsight, I should have really thought about what would benefit her in that moment. Instead of just thinking about my project, right?
No.
Instead, it was a disaster, and I went up to her and tried to pitch her, and then she like despised everything.
She was just tired, as you said.
She was very tired.
You've given it thought, and I can tell because that's. Yeah, it was. Oh man, she was a iron wall when I.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've never been rejected that hard face to face by someone. Usually people are trying to be nice, and she was not. Yeah.
I've had a guy tell me.
And then you took a picture of it through the window.
What?
Then you took a picture of the interaction through the window reflection because you thought it was so funny.
I did, and I still.
He took a picture of me getting denied by this lady.
Okay,
through the window.
Okay, I'm going to make both of my brothers ask you questions about this or topics related to this.
Yeah.
But first, I'm going to explain TUFA, IBM. You've heard this before. How you're supposed to run any business meeting is them. You talk about them. Then you talk about us. Here's what our team does, and then you find a fit between them and us, and you come to some agreement. And if you can make any meeting, a 1-minute meeting, a 30-minute meeting, then you've had a good meeting, IBM says. So, Nick or Kirk, who wants to go first?
What are we talking about?
We're talking. She just told a whole story about the value of festivals and how she went and made an interaction with an important person after struggling to get into an event.
Sure.
That gives you no thought of any questions you'd ask?
Well, how did she reject you? Was she like just bluntly, I don't want to be bothered? Like.
Her face said it all.
Oh, her face said it all.
But I would say, like, on the topic of festivals, though, so at this festival, I had to really, like, seek out value in being there, right? So sometimes festivals, like, you can't just go, and all festivals are different, but you can't just go to festivals and expect somebody to come up to you and be like, pitch me, like, tell me about, so, like, I always try to figure out where I'm at, who the smartest people are, try to meet with them, and, like, at this festival, there was, like, people who were willing to sit down and do one-on-ones on your scripts and like workshop them, and that was really useful. And I think like these networking events too, like if you just walk into a networking event and you expect somebody like a Spielberg to come up to you and be like, I want to make your project, like it's not going to happen. It's really what you make of it. So like I consider it my job to get to know as many people as I can, but authentically, right? Like not just meet someone to talk about yourself, like figure out what they do and like see what their goals are and see if they align with what you're doing. And if they do, depending on the situation, I think like you set a follow-up meeting or like talk to them and be like, hey, you want to do this. This is what I'm doing. Invite them on your podcast. Nick, I'm coming to you, but do you have a question? You want me to say? I want you to ask a question because I have a different prompt for her, but do you have a question? I just think festivals are what you make. Festivals are what you make of them.
Well, other than feeling like stuff that we shouldn't talk on record.
Sure. So what she said that I thought was very helpful is that what the value she found in a festival was finding people of substance. I'll throw out a name and you'll remember exactly who I'm talking about. Chris Lefko, and she directed an episode of Superstore. Nick knows that because his roommate girlfriend was impressed when I had sat down with Chris Lefko in Duluth a year prior and had a whole conversation that genuinely helped me. Yeah. And so describe that or your experience with Pamela, who worked on Mindhunter. Cool. I know she was wearing a great skirt. I told her I don't usually do that. I don't compliment clothes.
She was really cool. I can't remember like all the feedback she gave, but like what she did, I do remember coming out of it being like, oh, that was so valuable. And again, because I met with both of them.
I know.
And I was like, that was worth the trip. That was worth it. It was like these festivals, I think sometimes like people just think of them in a different way. Like, and I'm like, and I met a girl that I would consider like a friend now, like a long distance friend. Do you remember Lindsay Astor?
Yes, she recently sent me a part that I haven't auditioned for.
Yeah.
Because Kyle sometimes isn't an actor first. He
Yeah.
comes third usually. Or
Yeah.
fourth.
So
Yes.
me and her like have kept in touch just on Instagram.
Love
but
it.
like even just that connection, I'm like, I'm so glad I went to New York. I met, and I'm not saying like somebody needs to like blow money on every single festival. I'm not saying that at all. I think you have to be really, depending on your financial situation, like don't go to every single thing, like really be strategic. Like my strategy behind this festival was, I don't know what's going to come of it, but I'm going to learn what a festival looks like. I'm going to learn what a table read looks like. And that's my value in this festival. And then anything I get on top of that is just extra fluff and happiness, right? Like those connections I made, that feedback I got, like that was worth its weight in gold. And in this table read I just hosted, a lot of the people in that room I just met at like random networking things in the cities. And some people go to these networking things and they're like, well, that was a waste of my time because like I didn't get to talk about my project, or James Cameron wasn't in the room, right?
He's been in Duluth.
But like,
No, he really
that's
has.
awesome.
Yeah.
I just listened to his masterclass. It's really good. But,
I started it. Thanks.
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And Jodie Foster's is really good too.
I'll consider that next.
Yeah, she's a director.
I'm aware of who Jodie Foster
Well,
is.
some people think of her only as an actress,
Oh.
but she is a director.
I didn't know. Hello, Clarice, or
Hello,
something.
Clarice. I say that to people all the time, and they don't know what I'm talking about, and so I just have to like.
Well, if you were at the right
listen.
rally, they talk about him all the time.
Well, so yeah, I guess that's like the festival thing, right? Some of the most like loyal film connections I have, I just randomly met at a networking thing, and it didn't seem like a big deal, and then it ends up being like some of the people that I like the most, you know? Like I met my friend Monique do you know Monique? She was at the table read.
I, of course, remember everyone at the table.
I'm gonna butcher her last name.
Wait, no, I think I have met her.
She's cool.
At the place downtown Minneapolis, which was not the first place I met you at. I'm not sure.
No, she was at your thing. She sat next to me at it. I think that's how I met her.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
I first met her there. Sorry, it was not my thing. Can I tell you how many times I've tried to tell people that was
Your event that you planned for you.
I did not plan an event for me. I was asked to get people together monthly for an event that someone else was sponsoring and had their branding. And I was doing that in addition to stuff with JK Productions as the Farx Brothers.
Yeah.
We're back focused more on the Farx Brothers and JK Productions. You're in the middle of one. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
Nick Kirk, I'm just going to keep coming back to you.
Yeah, can you guys just ask me some questions
ask
for the
some
love
hard-hitting
of...
about anything.
Questions?
Yeah, ask me anything.
Ask her.
I'm...
She's a mom.
I thought you were going to say I'm a monk
Oh,
for some reason.
So Nick's girlfriend
I am
recently
also a monk.
moved in with him, like in the past couple of months.
Oh,
it's
this
kind of
is
a big deal.
juicy.
I know. And I bring her up on the
I
podcast.
know.
I don't say like I know.
What's her name?
I called my wife, whose name you know. I call her Mrs.
She's never
Farx
going
on
to
the
hear it if
podcast.
you do, because I said, because she goes to a podcast club on Sundays. I'm like, what if you guys listen to our podcast? And she's like, fuck no. Don't listen to your guys' shitty podcast.
You asked her?
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
She should
It's
listen
not
to
elite
it.
enough for her crowd.
Well, I don't know. This one might be. See, like I
It's
do
the love
think.
of her life. She should be listening to it.
Yes, Nick Farx is the love of roommate girlfriend's life. And
Wow, I would hope so.
Yeah, no, of course.
I bet.
Of course. This is the longest relationship my brother has been in. And
wow, way to call him out on it. Come
what?
on.
He knows that. I mean, do you mind me saying that? This is my marriage is the longest relationship I've been in.
I'm an open book.
Everyone
Oh.
says that about Nick
I'm an
Farx.
open book. I don't care.
Was that an impression? I'm an open book.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's
No,
just him.
That was just me talking in a high pitched
That's
voice.
just him. That was just him.
Do you want me to say it in Woody Allen voice?
No, I wanted you to ask her.
That guy's gonna haunt my nightmares if you guys keep bringing him up.
I'm gonna borrow you Annie Hall that I believe unopened in a Blu-ray, sitting in the downstairs Blu-ray shelf because I have 2 disc shelves. I'm a monster, and my wife got both of them for me.
Because you're the love of her life.
Because you like Annie Hall that much?
No, I just haven't. I bought it at a low price and then owned it because I thought, like, hey, it seems like Woody Allen's going out the door and they're not going to resell his movies very much. So.
The next person that says Woody Allen has to chug a White Claw.
That is we don't have any of those.
We should put it outside the shed so it gets
Woody
hot,
Allen
and then they
is
Wait, are you really going to? Okay, he's going to do it on.
You guys
we don't have White Claws. They would have to sponsor for us to do.
It can't be cold. It has to be a punishment.
It's a regular one, right? Oh, drinking a 5% is a punishment for me. I usually drink the 8% ones.
He drinks
the blue cans.
Non-alcoholic.
The
okay,
blue
pony
cans.
boy.
The blue cans.
I only drink 8%.
I only drink the White Claw Surges.
While this happens, Chelsea, could you tell us about evolving your pilot into a feature in more detail?
Oh yeah. Well, it all started. I Googled how long features are. And
how long ago did you Google that?
Oh, a long time ago.
Okay, cool.
Yesterday. And
even though we've done the table reading.
Gosh, it's hard to remember, to be honest, but like I basically Googled it and I was like, okay, basically, because what I was doing, I had a series pilot and then I had some episodes that I wrote too, because I'm like, this is going to be a TV show. It's going to be a TV show. And basically what it is, I picked all my favorite things out of those episodes in the pilot, and I'm like, okay, make this into a movie. I read like a bunch of screenwriting books about like character arcs and all that jazz, and I used my favorite jokes, my favorite scenes, and I rewatched some of my favorite movies, like The Heavyweight Sandlot, like all that stuff, and I kind of like followed that structure and wrote the feature.
Damn, I wish.
Oh, and I had a lot of inspo from like, I have a lot of inspo in my movie from What's Eating Gilbert Grape, The Other Sister, I Am Sam, and that's like where the neurodiverse stuff like kind of comes into play.
Is that the correct? So the correct term, and he's not chugging. Again,
It's fizzy. It's hard to swallow fast.
That's what you
said. Yeah, like this isn't a punishment. This is you luxuriously drinking it. Like you're just hanging out drinking a White Claw.
First female guest in the Man Cave studio and getting it correct. Gosh darn it, Nick Farx. Not a real person, not a real thing that's happening. So the correct term is neurodiverse. It's not neuroatypical. I wasn't sure, so I was like, oh no, which one do I write down?
I'm not the type of person that is like...
Yeah, but you're more connected to the community, and that's why it makes it easier to ask you.
I use an umbrella term, neurodiverse. However, I'm not a fan of people that just call themselves neurodiverse, and they're like, I'm different. And
like
so
I have ADHD and I'm neurodiverse, so like I'm not the same as somebody.
I'm not a fan of people that take advantage of resources that are meant for people that actually need them. That's actually that's something that gets me a little irritated. And there's not a lot of things in life that keep me irritated. And that's one thing that does bother me is if people are using things that people really need, Can
you give examples? Not necessarily. I don't know. Do you have an example? Okay, good. Please go.
So I know somebody. So for me, for my daughter, we get like PCA hours paid for by the state.
Okay.
So
because your daughter is neurodiverse in the sense that
she's like born with a genetic syndrome.
Yes.
So it's called Canusa. Basically, some of her DNA was deleted.
Got it.
And so she has what's called the global disability. It affects her intellectually, physically, every way you could be affected.
Okay.
So the state has programs where like, which I didn't know about this, which is why I'm an open book about it in case somebody's listening and like they don't know they have these resources. They pay for like a PCA, personal care assistant, to help you take care of your kid. So it's like a
jobs like program,
a babysitter almost.
Oh, yes.
Or like a care person.
PCAs, I think the term.
Yeah, because technically, like when you have a kid with something like this, it makes it really hard for you to get a job, right? Because I can't like put her in a typical daycare. I could probably figure something out. It just wouldn't look nice. It wouldn't be the best care for her and what she needs. So like in this season of her life, it makes more sense for me to be home and have a PCA help me and get to, like help her at home. That might change as she gets older. So that's why, circling back, neurodiverse can mean a lot of things. Yeah. I just use that because it's kind of an umbrella term, and I wanted to write roles for people that have some type of intellectual difference or like some type of physical difference. So for Jack, like Leonardo DiCaprio played in What's Eating. Have you seen What's Eating?
I've seen What's Eating Gilbert Grape in 20 years.
Okay, he played Arnie. He played it really well, but he's obviously a typical person. So like I thought it would be cool to, you know, a lot of people have been doing this now. Like you hire people that are actually in that realm.
Like what they did on Glee, because you have that person in your pitch deck.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so I have like 2 characters for that. And then how do we get on this topic? What was your question?
I was talking about how it relates to Jack. Well, or also your personal connection to the story.
Yeah.
Those things are, you know, part of what is a water ski and somewhat socioeconomically
there's
conscious.
A lot of themes.
There's so much politics in this. I can't show this to my kids. No, I would totally show this to my kids.
Yeah.
They watch first.
Yeah, it's I have realized that like overall it's supposed to be a goofy sports comedy with like humor. And there are a lot of like underlying like themes, propaganda, if you will.
Yeah,
right?
Everything's propaganda.
You know?
That's my true belief about like even Barney is propaganda.
Well, because I think people create out of a place of pain, and so like you want to connect with people, you want them to feel the pain that you felt in different ways, and you want people to understand you, and that's why you create things. That's why I personally think that pain is one of the biggest catalysts for art, right? So I went through a lot of pain with my daughter, and that forced me to create art. And it gave me the courage to produce art. When things like that happen that are completely out of your control, and you realize that like even if you do everything perfectly, life can just like be crazy, like it gives you the courage to just be like, well, I can't control anything anyway, so I might as well like create the art that I'm supposed to make, right? And you know when you're supposed to make something because it's like that thing you do that you enjoy working. I enjoy writing and being so tired, and I enjoy the creating thing, and even when I'm exhausted after being with the kids, like it's something that like sets you on fire. Like you're like, this is so cool, like I love doing this. And so that's when you know that that's your art form, in my opinion.
That's your 3rd time saying in your opinion. I go to the panel of Farx's. Any thoughts, questions that sparked? See, spark and Farx kind of rhyme. That's called near rhyme. You could swear at me.
I just went pretty deep.
Yeah, I just thought that was really nicely put.
Well, no, I can relate to that because, like, so I'm coming back to screenwriting after a very long time away from it, and it's it's so.
He's leaning back with his hands on his face. Like, the script would say
that's
that.
All I have to
say. He has so much
right.
angst right now.
Oh,
it's very invigorating to like the excitement of the creative aspect of it again, but it's so. I'm also like the reason I came back to it. I was like I feel like I have so much a better grasp of how to do it well. Like the last feature script I wrote was 2007, so I'm like I feel like I know so much more now, so that it's invigorating that way. But like it's also so hard because I'm holding myself to such a high standard, so it's very stressful that way. But I get that though. Like I'm like this is what excites me. It excites me, but it's at the same time it stresses me out. So I get that.
Why does it stress you out?
Because I'm like so. Like I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna try to write something, right?
Oh,
and I'm at a stage where I've had an outline for months.
Yeah.
And I'm well into this feature script, and I'm like, okay, well I know what my outline tells me I have to write.
Yeah.
But like, I struggle with like the concentration is an issue more so than it was like 17 years ago, and I feel better when I like feel good about what I just wrote going into the next scene than if I just off the top of my head like wrote the scene per the outline. That's fine, it's written, but it's like I know I'm gonna have to like not that I'm trying to not have to rewrite, that would be ridiculous, but like I want to feel good in the moment about what I wrote before I go on to the next thing, and have that momentum going into the next scene. So if I just like do a vomit draft of a scene, I'm like, well, I don't feel good about that scene. And then it kind of weighs me down going into the next one. And then if I do the next one and do a vomit draft of that scene, it weighs me down even more. So it's stressful setting a bar for myself where I'm like, I want this to be good. Like, I know what's supposed to happen. Like, I have an outline. It's a scene by scene outline. I know what's happening in the scene, but like transforming it into the like
the words that are on the script.
The words are important because someone's reading it, but like all the details that happen between the outline, what's described in the outline, and what's the actual, how does it play out?
I think you're relying too much on yourself. That's probably why.
Maybe.
Like, you think that this stuff's coming from you, and it's like not. Like, you're more of a medium for it to get on the page. And I think that sounds like you think that it's coming from you when it's like coming from
the ether. The ideas come from outside of us, and we just happen to catch them.
So I think like you are a medium for this art so the reason you want to make this art is because God or the universe, whatever you want to word it wants this art to be in the world. The reason that you have this urge to do this, and so all you have to do is sit in the damn seat. You have to make the time for it, and you have to write. When you're analyzing what you're writing, or when you're thinking like, oh, I might not be able to do this, like that's when it's not going to work. It's like when you have to, I think like when you accept the fact that it's really not coming from you, it's coming from something else, and you're just the medium, and you're chosen to do this, then all of a sudden it kind of will start to feel effortless, right? If any writer, when they sit down, if you think that it's you, you're gonna feel so insecure. You're gonna be like, oh, I could be doing something else with this time. It's a waste of time. What I just wrote is junk. But like when you realize that like all your job is to do is sit and write, and the ideas will come and you'll get in the flow, but you have to open up to the flow. And it's not you, not to get woo-woo, but I just kind of got a little woo-woo. But like, that's how I feel.
We have
that's
to define woo-woo.
Define
when I
woo-woo
write, like when you start going crazy with your writing, like when you enter that flow state, in my opinion, that's you being called to do your art. Just like when artists painting a picture, I don't think it's just like because they're doing it from their brain or from their person. They're the medium chosen to bring that art to the world. And so you have to realize that like your art will be great, not because it's from you alone. It's from what's being put through you. And your job is to bring that art to the world. And if you don't, you're going to be really depressed.
Yeah.
One of the things do you have
well no, like the depressed part is like, yeah, like
you won't be on fire.
The depressed is like, oh shit, I don't have I thought I would have this done by now, and I don't.
Yeah, because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Ow! Hit him.
Fuck you.
Debate show.
Fuck you.
Like we're here, like people are so much more important than they realize, and they're so much more spiritual than they realize. People think that like we're just these like people that write from our brains, and like there's just this like sector of our brain that our creative brain, and like there's so much more magic to it than that. And that's like some of the most magical stuff happens when we realize that like we don't just want to do these things because we're choosing it. It's choosing us. Because why would somebody want to sit and write a screenplay?
It does suck.
Yeah.
Right.
It does suck.
Like, why would I sit there and read books on screenwriting?
You're motivated and you know how to create a plan of action that you executed on well?
But why do I want to do that? Why did that come into my brain? It's random, right? It's because I was chosen to do this, and it doesn't mean like I'm chosen to win an Oscar and like be amazing. It's not like that. I'm chosen to make this project. It's my job to bring this project out. If I don't, somebody else is going to, because the universe wants this movie to be made. So I'm going to try my best to get it made, even if it ends up not being great to some people. Some people might be like, this isn't good, but I'm supposed to do this because, I'm in alignment with what I'm to do. And that's why I feel on fire about it. That's why it's easy for me to stay up late and work on it. And that's why even if my kids have kept me up all night, I can stay up late and do this podcast and talk about it because this is so cool. Whereas if I was home and all I was doing was taking care of my kids, being up at 10:30, I would be miserable.
We never disclose when we record this. I'm just kidding.
Oops.
No, it's totally fine.
But,
one of the things that's impressed me about you is that one month I was sent a 140-page screenplay, which I immediately forwarded to these two bastards so that they'd read it. And because one of the things that when you said, it's hard to get people to read your scripts, I know that one of the things I've done when Nick and I have made movies, or Kirk and I, well, all the Farx Brothers here, when we've made movies, people come to me because I'm kind of public and extroverted, so it's easy to come to me, and then it's like, oh, I know it's good. At the end of a Tina Fey show on Amazon Prime was, I wasn't looking at the boyfriends you were bringing home, protagonist woman. I was looking at the look you had on your face, her paternal figure says to her.
Yeah.
And that's what told him it was the time. So what I've been impressed by, and I think this is a nice contrast to where we've been so far in the conversation, is how'd you get so good at killing your darlings? Because you went from 140 to 118. You're trying to get to like 90 right now on page count. And you're like, that shows like you're aware and you know how to like cut. It goes back to your no thing. All these things kind of tie together. But I want to hear you because you've had many thoughts that are good.
Yeah, rereading it. And like whenever I find myself getting bored, I just cut it. If I find that I'm cutting something that like really helped a character be cool, I try to like give them a little something somewhere else, right? Because I want to make characters that are attractive to future acting talent. But yeah, basically whenever I find myself being like, I'll just reread my script myself. And when I'm like finding myself kind of rushing to get through a part because I know something else is coming up, I'm like, oh, that part sucks. And then I'll just cut it.
Can you give an example of something like real concrete that you've cut?
Yeah.
That you can remember? Okay, cool.
And it's hard too because like this was one of my favorite scenes. So and part of me always wants to bring it back, but I just don't have the page count. So I think I'm going to try to sneak it into production, but we'll see. There's like a scene where like a whole scene where they go to a towny bar called Howling Wolf. And they find out there's like a cash prize for a line dancing contest, and like the water skiers are doing really good because they're used to like their choreography. And then all of a sudden like the lights go out and like the DJ's like, shit, like I forgot I have to announce, like the fishermen come in and like this guy's hand comes in, he turns on a little strobe light, and like these fishermen come in and just kill a line dancing routine. And they, again, because it's like a rivalry between the fishermen and the water skiers, and they win the cash prize. And it's just like, in my mind, it's just the funniest scene because like I know how the fishermen dance and I know what they do. I loved it, but it took up a lot of pages and it didn't move the plot forward. It was more of like a fun thing, and so that was something I cut and it was one of my favorite scenes. That was something I wrote a long time ago, and I'm still obsessed with the scene, but I had to cut it.
Sequel.
I was thinking like the worst case scenario, I'm going to do like what Shrek did. And in the credits, you know how they're all dancing to I'm a Believer? I'll do like the line dancing with like the fishermen and the skiers if I can't sneak it into production.
It's a credit sequence. That's genius. An end credit sequence to get people to read all the names.
Yeah, and I intend to try to involve as many water ski alumni as I can in the movie, even if they're like extras or like doing some of the like the tricks and stuff. And then like in the scenes, I want to put like them dancing and like put the school that they skied for, because I thought that would be cool.
Sounds like an end credit sequence. I'm glad you figured that out.
I did.
Damn.
Yeah. So.
Boys.
If there were other scenes in the same location, you could just like shoehorn it into the same.
That's
shoot
on
date.
the. That's
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't. Oh, sorry. I just, am I correct in thinking?
There's no other scenes at the same location too. That's also why I cut it.
Still, yeah.
Is it when they're on the bus? Just to be vague.
They're not going on the bus anymore.
Oh, you cut the bus?
So they're not going down to ski school anymore.
Oh, you cut the ski school?
They go to a private ski lake.
That's a whole other...
I had to cut that out too because of traveling. Some of my feedback was like, hey, the ski school is too much. And so I cut that out. I rearranged that to be a private ski lake. When they have Slow No Wake, they go to a private ski lake instead.
That does make sense with
But that sucked for me because I really wanted them to go down to that ski school because it was part of kind of my business plan too, because I wanted to get some financing from ski schools.
And Louisiana.
Yeah. But I got that feedback. Also, if you get repeated feedback, you got to cut it. And even if you don't want to. And I kept getting that over and over and over from different people. And I'm like, I'm wrong. I cut it out. But it sucks, yeah. Like I've cut out really fun stuff.
Anything else you want to mention for the sake of posterity?
Posterity?
Posterity meaning like so that it's in the record because we have recorded it.
Oh, sorry. We've been going for too long?
No.
Yeah.
I'm looking up other things to give away to the audience. Wait, where are we actually, Kirk? What I was going to ask, though, is talk more. We haven't really covered the table read, have we?
I don't think so. I think I brought it up a couple times, but...
Yeah. So,
that was really fun. That was a cool thing. I recommend every writer to do that.
Why? What about it was helpful to you? Obviously, since the table read, the ski school has been changed to Ski Lake.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of the readers, did edits on their scripts. And so I got to, go through their scripts and, fix edits. There was even some spelling errors that, I didn't see because I've read it so many times.
Yeah. That's the only thing I marked up.
I think the table read, there's so many benefits that I saw from it. I think what I liked about it was you see who will come out, you see who's serious, you see who's loyal, and then you meet new acting talent too. So that was really cool. I think doing a table read on your own terms, you can control the environment, you can really customize it so that as much maybe people can get a feel for your project. And I think it just takes it one step further. It's taking that active versus passive approach. It's I'm hosting this table read. This is my script. It's going to be produced. I'm getting this to get feedback from you guys. It's another indirect way to pay people for their feedback, right? I bought people food.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being there.
I wasn't fishing for a compliment when you complimented me earlier, and I was like, I'm going to get you back by complimenting you right now.
and I think, and then it was another thing for me to promote on social media in case, I think, you're just always, as a writer, I'm trying to treat it as a business, right? So, if I'm doing stuff, I try to promote it on my social media in case the right person sees and might take me seriously, might pick up the phone if I call, right? There are production companies, there are people that I have reached out to that have been not now, but because they've seen what I'm doing and because I've been kind of relentless in keeping communication, they will answer the phone when I call. And even if they say no, it's still a relationship.
That's a sales
it's usually
development.
Not now, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's why I consider my Instagram another thing that's important because a lot of people go to people's Instagram to kind of get to know what they're doing. The table read was a business move, it was a creative move, and it was trying to expand the network for the project because a lot of people in there weren't just actors, they did other stuff in film too. And I've already had follow-up meetings with a lot of the actors in the room, and they're like, hey, if I can't be in your movie, can I do this? If I can't act, can I do this? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep you as if I can, yes. But I'm also going to be working with other people that might have a say in things. But that was cool too, because there's people in that room that do way more than just acting.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with other people in that room. And,
yeah.
I noticed that people started messaging me more all of a sudden. It's because you saw me in a table read and I don't usually. That's why I do acting sometimes because it's it's a quick way to get attention, but it's not. An actor doesn't get to go through the journey you've been on as a writer.
And I think it's really important to promote yourself to a point where it's you have to let people know that you're doing stuff because you have to stay fresh in their minds. It's self-promotion, right? It's because people will forget you, they'll forget you're doing stuff. And if they keep seeing you over and over on social media, they're like, oh, they're actually doing this. They're actually going to do it.
That's why Nick said we had to start this podcast. I was like, no.
I didn't say we had to start, but I had a couple drinks, and I said, we should start a podcast. And then here we are.
The most white guy
30 episodes later.
Yeah.
Because I had a couple drinks.
Got a couple of beers and was like, let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're arguing on Facebook Messenger about what the fuck movie.
We were arguing about Jurassic Park 7 that's coming out.
That's what it was, yeah.
And we got why are you again? Have you not shown the Jurassics to your children?
If I did, I'm not anti-Jurassic Park, but if I did, they're going to get a nightmare. and they're gonna end up in my bed. Two of my kids were in my bed last night.
Your kids do that? Oh, my kids, like, they're...
Yeah, your kids aren't old. How old are your kids?
3 and 4.
That's why. Once they get older, they're gonna end up in your bed. Because what they do is they get older, they get bigger imaginations, and they have nightmares, and then like they get scared like all the time, and they come in your bed.
We talk about their nightmares in the morning.
I'm telling you, put this on record. Your kids will be in your bed.
We have a lock on our door. They're not coming in.
They're coming in. They'll come in. They'll bang on your door. My kids didn't come in my bed for a long time, and then once they get older, they start getting imaginations.
Okay.
And if they see Jurassic Park, they will dream about a dinosaur, and they will end up in your bed. And they'll be terrified, and so you can't say no. They're like, I'm so scared, and what am I going to do? Be like, well, figure it out.
Learn to deal with fear because it will help you longer in life.
I probably have said that, and they're like, no, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, so like both my kids were in my bed last night. So like Jurassic Park, I'm not anti-Jurassic Park, but do I want to sleep?
I've definitely shown my kids Jurassic Park, and Nick went to see Beetlejuice when
Jurassic Park or like stupid ass Jurassic World where Chris Pratt talks to raptors.
Oh, I love Blue. My kid has a.
I like Blue. Like if I were a kid, I would want like a blue action figure, but I'm like an adult, and I'm
my
like,
kids have a blue
this
action
is
figure.
Stupid. Like raptors were like the main threat, other than the T-Rex in the first one. Why are you talking to the fucker? Like,
I would talk to him.
If they could talk, but they still can kill you. It's like, why does Chris Pratt just doing this?
Right, and stops everything. Yeah.
And shaking his head.
He's able to use the Force on the...
Yeah, this is not Star Wars. This is Jurassic Park we're talking about.
That's why I'm looking forward to the next one where we're like, there's no Chris Pratt. There's hopefully no talking to raptors.
Field of Dreams, okay.
We play movies and Bad News Bears and what? Okay.
I'm disappointed I did not see
when they
captions. The N word did not pop up at all, and that's the whole reason people watch Bad News Bears.
That's not why I watched Bad News Bears. I just
the good old days. The good old days.
No, it's because your script I said was like Bad News Bears.
Oh,
I'm joking.
You said Sandlot.
He's not joking.
That's just a more modern reference. I'm an old person, so
the joke is like the good old days back. Like, what are you talking about? The good old days? Well, back when you could.
It's before social media.
Well, that true.
Clearly, it has nothing to do with any of the other weird stuff. It's just before social media, it was way nicer.
Oh yeah, but we got the best time. Like it was after the internet, but before social media.
Nickelodeon, TRL. Oh yes, the best.
I liked those things. Nick,
everyone did. Cereal.
Nick, where were you at with Nickelodeon and TRL?
Well,
Slime.
No, I grew up up until without Nickelodeon up until we didn't get basic cable until I was like 14.
You're one of those.
No. This is a socioeconomic thing.
I'm a poor.
I know. I know it is.
You're one of those poors. Wait, did you have...
poors are at it again.
The real poors still had Nickelodeon because they're like, we need this. If you're really
saying
poor,
you're a real poor because you had... My family would...
They invested in the right things.
Yeah,
the real poor.
We would get it cable for different promotions for part of the year, and specifically not in the summer months because we should be outside.
Wow. Okay. Good parenting.
Oh, don't
compliment
nice. My adopted parents that way. Yesterday was my adoption day.
Must have been nice. I bet they really loved you.
I had lunch with them yesterday.
Of course you did. But they told you they're proud of you.
They're not. I was doing something today that they had concerns about. But if I don't give them a little bit of heat behind the ears every now and again, it's not worth it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. That's what your kid's gonna do to you the rest of your life.
They're gonna go to therapy for being loved too much, for sure.
Kirk, we're brothers, but we all grew up.
Did we address your writing challenges well enough? I'm like,
my writing challenges.
Thank you for listening to part 2 of our interview with Chelsie Knight. Be sure to tune in on Friday to see if Nick can get the help he needs. Bye.
We have 2 events to announce now because we have the October 11th event at the West Theater in Duluth. Laugh Till You Scream at 9 p.m. It is a combination of stand-up comedy and horror shorts, as well as an October 6th event at the Woodbury 10 at 6 p.m. And it'll be Farx Brothers Presents Pilots. We're going to show Canusa Street and I believe a Hitch List, as well as some of our shorts. and Zach will be there, and I will be there as the filmmakers, and I think we'll have the same we have the same comedians committed.